Hey guys. Wow, the energy is really interesting in the air today. Also, I saw that there was like an excessive amount of M class flares this morning and then one X class flare. So that should be interesting as that energy kind of makes its way into our fields and yeah, it just impacts the way that we are perceiving and experiencing this space that we're incarnated in. So I don't want to talk about the election. Not because I'm upset about it or anything. I just like don't even like it's such a the energy is so crazy. Like there's different places you can focus, but I feel like that's not where we even need to focus anymore because like a lot of that is not in our control, right? What can we control? What is in our experience in this moment right now, and I think that is just it. Like right now I didn't even make notes or anything because I'm so busy. I have to take my son to an appointment soon, and he broke his toe. My oldest broke his hand. My other son, I have three of them. He wears hearing aids, so like whenever he has an appointment we have to drive all the way to Pittsburgh. That's a couple hours. um and then my daughter had a dentist appointment this morning. It was just like, there's always something, and everyone's in extracurriculars, and I have work. And that is the reason I'm even boring you with my busy schedule, because that is just the energy. It's like, can we finally please get out of the matrix so we have the time, energy, capacity to do what we actually want to do here? And I find myself lately watching YouTube videos of people who homestead, people who live off the grid. And it's just like, I want that so badly right now. But I don't feel stuck because I'm actively working towards it, and I'm in a space where I can create from the space that I'm in right now. Even if it's not like a permanent location, I'm still in the space where I can create and work towards something that I love. The issue is time, right? Because I'm one person. It's hard to do it on your own while you're working as it is, because it's easier if you have more hands. But on top of that, I take care of four kids, and they're all in extracurriculars, and they're all just, life is happening to them too, just as much as it is me. And I'm their complete support system. So, yeah. So that itch to just like go do the things that I want to do in this world, it feels like the matrix kind of like holds you back. And it's like, how can we find more ways to let go of things that kind of drag us back from what we actually want? And so let go of those things so we can create that space to just incrementally add more things that you actually want to be doing. Like maybe even if it's just having a small garden, if you only even have a porch to grow on, like just whatever it is for you. Maybe you don't want to have a small garden. I'm not trying to tell you what you desire, but like if you're not doing the things that you desire to do in life, then look at it as letting go of things that don't serve you or you don't really want to be doing, and creating more space and time and energy to put into things that you actually want to pursue in life. And it's interesting because the matrix has us so programmed that like life is supposed to look a certain way, and we kind of feel trapped in these cycles because we have bills to pay, right? And we've been so trained to be materialistic too, because simplicity, there's so much more fulfillment in simplicity because you're grateful for everything. And it's not about, it's like, it's not even the whole poverty mindset, like where people are like, well, yeah, you want to like live in a limited way, you just want to be poor and you're promoting being poor. Like I've heard people with like a really negative perspective on that, but it's not even about that. It's just about it's like that Bob Marley quote. I'm not going to be able to quote it verbatim, but it's where it's like, the less you need, the happier you are, or the more you expand, because you learn to source that happiness and that validation and that like joy in life from yourself, and from the simple things, and from gratitude and appreciation, and feeling good about yourself because you created something. Maybe you created a garden, maybe you built something. It could be anything, but you're coming from that connection with your higher self. You're coming from that divine inspiration. You're coming from that creative space. And that's just another thing. I don't know why Spirit is bringing this up right now, but that creative space, a lot of times we don't protect it enough. Like, we have to really think about how we want to spend our creative energy. And the interesting thing is, if you're not with somebody or you're exchanging energy with somebody and from that creative energy, and they're not like in divine alignment with their higher self or with you, you will feel drained in that area, and then you won't have motivation to create. Some people are so unconscious of it because maybe you're even married to somebody, right? I'll just use that as a random example. And that person is really not stealing your energy, because it's not about them. They're just living their journey too. But you're allowing them to siphon you in a way, because they're not feeding you, because they're not feeding themselves. And then inadvertently, you're not feeding yourself that good high vibrational energy of divine inspiration and stuff. If you're with a divine partner and you're both connected and on the same page, you can feed each other, right? So you can, instead of like being intimate with somebody and that energy is just splat and you're drained, you'll be intimate with that person who you have that connection with, and it's a positive thing because you're both simultaneously working on yourselves and growing and expanding. So you're in this divine alignment. Then you'll be able to exchange physical intimacy energy with each other. And not only will you not be depleted, you'll be feeding each other and you'll be expanding in such an exponential way. Most people, including myself, haven't even, I mean, I've had glimpses of that, obviously, in my twin flame experience, but like to officially like reach that is so, goals, right? Like whether it's your twin flame or a soulmate or whoever, like that's goals, because it's two people who are like exploding in expansion together. It's the people that can actually go out and build the homestead and follow through with it all and thrive. Because some people try and they don't thrive because they're just not there yet spiritually. And you know, it takes that discipline. Spirituality is, there's so much discipline in spirituality. It's about saying no to things, right? That your ego really wants to say yes to. It's about understanding you need high standards in your friendships, in your relationships. And that doesn't mean you're like judging everybody and like, you can't be my friend because you're not high vibrational enough. It's not even about that. You're the light. So you're just showing people an example of what connection looks like. But like, knowing your boundaries with people. Some people are associates and people you have a quick conversation with if you see them out and about. And some people are like that person that you call when you're having a rough time and you know that they genuinely will give you an honest opinion. They'll give you, or just support. They'll be the one that'll be like, do you need my advice, or you just want me to listen? They are conscious enough to ask you that question, right? It's those types of people. And this goes for family and everything. Like, you just have to know where to place people, because they will drain you. It doesn't matter if it's your parents. It doesn't matter if it's your child and you're both adults and you're like having this relationship you have to work through, whatever it is. Like, you have to know your boundaries. You have to know your boundaries with all people, because they will drain you. Because most people are not thinking, for me to act in this situation or respond in this situation, what is the highest best for my friend over here? Most people are thinking, what's the best for me? They don't have that expanded perspective of, okay, what's the highest good of all right here? So you sit back and you have to kind of actually slow down for a minute and tune in and say, what is the highest vibrational decision for all? So recognize that in the connections that you have in life. Even if you're a parent, like, you are a parent, as soon as you have a child, you make that sacrifice to do the best that you can do to raise that child. So like, to me, I'm just that person, like, and I had struggling relationships with my parents. You don't abandon each other, like, especially when they're children. So you have to figure out boundaries. And just for example, each of my kids they're 4 beautiful children with very different personalities. All 4 of them, very different. And I interact with each of them differently, and I show up for each of them differently, because I recognize that. Like I've slowed down enough. I spend enough time with my kids where it's genuine quality time where they feel safe to be themselves, that I get to know who they are so I can be the best version of me for them. I'm considering all perspectives, right? That's what a good parent would do. And you can do that in all situations. Like like the highest good of you is the highest good of all too in a situation. Sometimes the highest good is setting a really firm boundary. And it's not you shutting somebody out and saying, oh, I don't care about you anymore. No, they could play the victim and say that. But really, you're protecting your energy and you're giving them an opportunity to sit in their own crap so they can have that opportunity to make a different decision, to see a different perspective. Not to say that your perspective is like a whole 100% right. There is no such thing as 100% right. That's what people don't understand. There is no black and white. It's all gray. Everything's gray because there's how many times have you reincarnated? How many perspectives have been taken? Like that is expansion of the universe. It's all those perspectives are so expansive. It's a new experience in every moment in a different avatar. And you've experienced infinite amount of moments, right? So it's really about mastering your energy and your frequency so you can show up in those moments as the highest version of yourself, which will sometimes not look like some big positive happy party. Like I said, sometimes it looks like setting a boundary. Sometimes it looks like telling somebody, I need some space, or I can't talk to you for a while because I have to not make an excuse, have this honest conversation with you and say, hey, I need space. Not try to point the finger, but just make it about you. It's like, I'm not even sit here and try to give everyone advice about how to set boundaries with people, but Spirit keeps having me say it over and over again. It's like, there's a reason for that, okay? So if you don't have healthy boundaries with friends, family, and relationships and stuff, you will drain, and that's what it is. You will drain yourself, and then you're not going to have that space to expand in the creative ways that you actually want to in this world. And also be open to the fact that what you think you want now might actually not be what you truly want from the highest version, because a lot of us are healing. We all are still healing. So we're not the highest of the highest version of what we can be. But it's a journey. It's an incremental expansion and change. But right now, it doesn't feel very incremental, does it? I feel like I have a million things that just keep popping up. Not necessarily problems, but just another thing to deal with, right? And I feel like the version of me 5 years ago, 7 years ago, 8, would be so much more stressed out than the version of who I am right now. And I'm very grateful for that. And I think it's just like learning to flow. You just have to learn to flow. Look for that like ease. Look for that. Who cares? Like I like this happened or whatever. And then just being able to get that space of like, okay, first of all, who cares? Don't let that get your emotions all in a twist. I know it's hard when you're an empath. I mean, you could walk in the room and you don't even have an explanation as to why you feel this discord inside of your body. And who cares? Like, just relax. It's all good. Say a little prayer of protection. Set your intention and keep it pushing and just flow. Like, whatever comes into your experience, flow with it. And that's really been what I've been doing. Once in a while, I'll have like a low day where I'm like kind of depressed that I'm doing it on my own. But that victim mode, I know everyone hates that. Don't shame the victim or whatever. It's like not that though. We have to be really honest with ourselves. That is spirituality. It's getting sick of your own shit and stop like arguing for your own limitations because you're like, well, I'm justified in feeling this way because XYZ happened to me or this person said this or whatever, your job, your boss, blah, 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 I gotta pay my bills. Like all it is a bunch of excuses. You get to decide how you want to show up in this given moment all day, every day. And so we can make excuses all we want. The worst thing could happen, but we still have to decide how we want to show up and how we show up in the environment that we're in impacts everybody in that environment as well. And it's just you deciding, am I going to shine my light or am I going to just like feel like I have bricks on my feet, like going through life, like letting my ego play it safe, just not having the courage to just try anything new, just going through the cycle of the matrix. Like, doesn't that shit get old? It really is getting old for me. Even the whole, your kids go to school, they're all in extracurriculars. It's like you don't even have time. Like, I want to start serious gardening, and it's like, even the prep it takes in the spring. Oh, my son is going to swimming every freaking night of the week. You know what I mean? And we've normalized that. Like, how can we bring in sports and all of that, but also bring in that community and that, like, living in a natural way with nature? And I think that is what is going to be happening, because it just doesn't make sense to have a family and then we all live like far away from each other when we could just buy a big piece of land and everybody has a little lot and we're just having a community garden and like we're helping each other. There's no reason to be stressed. Everyone's got everyone's backs. It's like more than enough help. And the kids are watching you do that. So they're becoming these little creators who will also know how to like do way more things because they started since they were little. We had to learn from what? Looking up crap on YouTube and maybe get reading books or like whatever, self-taught. Because most of us did not grow up with parents, let's be honest, that were gardening and homesteading. That was like done. Both my grandparents had gardens. Neither of my parents did. I remember my grandma still has a garden. I don't even know how she does it right now. That is what keeps her going. Because she has like serious heart and health issues, and like nothing can stop that woman from having her garden every year. And like she grows some impressive vegetables. But anyways, it's in the genes, baby. It's in the genes. So like we have to really get focused on how we can let go of things that keep us in that cycle in the matrix and expand into the creative individuals that we're here to be. We're supposed to show the way. So like it's hard for us, right? We don't have the communities already made or anything. We're the makers, guys. Okay. So we have a mission here, and I feel a little bit lighter today. But at the same time, I see a lot of people going through it. So like, I don't want to sit here and pretend that like it's not tough, because let me say the astrology right now is brutal. It's brutal, and I think it is tough, but like we are too. It's tough in a spiritual way, but in like a healthy way, because we have to be soft and in our feminine too. Like that's how you stay aligned. Like that feminine energy feels safe, and I really had to learn to create that safety for myself. So it's like, when I get into a situation where I meet somebody or somebody I already know, and I feel that that energy isn't safe, I'm like, oh, whoa, like the red flags will go up if you meet somebody and you notice like, whoa, I feel safer just staying at home right now than actually going out, because who knows what will happen. And then that'll mess with my emotions, like whatever, you know. It's like this weird thing where you almost crave that alone time because you were in a situation that was draining you, or even if you went to like a party or something, it was really draining, and you get back and you're in your own space, and you start to create that safety within yourself. And it's not a lot happens in that alone time. Okay, you have your like when you first start doing in that and feeling that way, like you really have to get alone. It's a lot of times because it's time for you to sit with your shadow. I feel like everything is divinely timed. Everyone wants to like force a Kundalini awakening or do whatever they have to do to speed it up. Trust me, you don't want to speed it up already more than what the astrology and the awakening and everything has been doing now. Like just chill, like go with the flow. That's the energy you want to be in anyways. That soft, feminine, receiving energy of, I know everything's working out for me. The universe has my back. Even when negative things happen, it's for my highest good, because I'm expanding and learning more perspectives, learning to set my standards very high, because you deserve what you want. And what you really want, the highest version of you, is such a bright light and expansion to the collective around you. Like you will impact people like you've never even realized, and it'll just happen effortlessly because you're just out there every day in whatever moment you're in, choosing love, choosing to be soft, choosing to be creative, choosing to also set firm boundaries so you're able to be in that energy more and you're not drained and sucked away into low vibrational environments that aren't feeding the highest version of like what you're trying to create. So sometimes it's good to just sit and write everything down and say, okay, what am I trying to create? What am I actually doing? And what changes can I make? Right? So anyways, I'm not going to harp on the same subject for too long, but the message today is let's create more space to expand, because a lot of us feel stuck still. I feel like I've been like talking about this for like 5 or 6 years now. I know I don't make as many videos now, but like it still applies. But right now, it's like, aren't we sick of just saying, well, I have to do this. That's my job. I'm in the matrix. I have bills to pay. Like, I'm so sick of making excuses to stay attached to something that I don't want to be a part of. And that's that loop, being in the matrix, going to work, like checking off the checklist of graduating, getting a family, having kids, they go to school, then you take them to sports after school, and then they'll graduate, get a job, have a family. Like what kind of legacy is that? That's like everybody trying to stuff themselves into the same box instead of realizing we're all so freaking unique. We all bring something so unique to the table, but we're so busy trying to be like everybody else and follow a fad or a trend that we don't even recognize that spark within us that is so creative, that is ingenious, that it will create something that nobody has ever seen before, because it came from your mind, and nobody has your mind. Nobody has your experiences. Only you have those. Only you have the capacity to fulfill this highest version mission of yourself. But you're too busy saying, well, I have bills to pay. My kids have sports. I don't have time to work on a creative endeavor. I don't have time to research things that I feel interested in. I think about, sometimes I get that divine inspiration and I get really interested in, but it only lasts a day because, oh, back to the matrix. Like, come on, guys. Aren't you sick of it? I'm sick of it. And if I am a single mom with 4 kids and I'm incrementally working myself out of it too, like, you can do it. Like, you can do it. We all can do this, okay? And eventually it'll be a lot of us working together. It'll stop being people just talking about the dream of living off the grid or getting a community and all this kind of stuff, and actually living it. And I feel us finally coming into that energy, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot to shed your ego. It takes a lot to say goodbye to the matrix. And we don't fully ever say goodbye to the matrix. We're still going to have to pay taxes if we buy property and all that kind of stuff. But we got to stop making excuses. They are valid excuses. I will give you that. I give myself the excuses, like, but there are different answers. We just keep looking in the same recipe book and trying to create something different. And it's like, no, even schools, like how long, when the early 1900s, have we been doing school the same way since then? Give me a break. Things need to change, and kids need to learn about things that will actually expand them and the community and lead them to know what that creative thing, that creative spark inside of them wants to create. Because kids are just doing what their parents want them to do. The parents vicariously live through the kids because they never healed, and it's this sick cycle of BS. Really, the kids should be nurtured into knowing how to create from the space of like, oh, that's what I like. I don't care about what Susie and Billy are doing over here. Who gives a shit? Because I like this thing. And then their mind starts going, and you give them that space at school or however you would do it at home. However the new communities would educate. I would hope it's so much different than what we do now. It will be. But like, give them that space so they can receive that high inspiration from their higher self. Because, oh my gosh, guys, I work with kids. So like, we just don't realize, like, not everyone says, oh, it's the next generation. It's who's gonna, be the leaders of our world in the future, right? It's our future. Kids are our future. But they're so like, they just need a healthy environment. They just need space to expand. We are suffocating them, and it's really hard to watch. And it's like, I have all these ideas and I just want to implement them, but I feel like I'm only one person. I have a whole plan for an entire school. written in notebooks. Like, I get all this divine inspiration to create, and it's like, we got to find our people, and we got to start expanding, and we got to stop arguing to stay in the matrix, because we have to rebuild something different. Are we still partially going to have our foot in it here and there? Yes. But we want